Hello, I'm Nobby Clark. Welcome to my workshop. We're looking inside if you like, the gearbox of my Myford lathe here, and you see you have a series of gear wheels here, which can be changed around for different sized gears with different numbers of teeth, for different screw cutting pitches. Now, what we're interested in today are these gears here at the top. These are the Tumbler gears, and they link up via this gear here onto the change gears, and also link onto the gear here on the end of the spindle. If I turn the chuck round, you see that the spindle and spindle gear moves without affecting any of these other gears here. And by moving this lever into, you've got two different positions here that you can adjust it into, you'll see that one of these gears here will link up to this gear on the end of the spindle and move all of these gears through to this one, which is on the end of the lead screw. The lead screw runs along, if you can see it runs along the front of the lathe, and when that's engaged it will move the carriage along, either for screw cutting or for cutting on material. If I move this down, you see it changes moves or rocks these gears from side to side and moves a different gear into contact with this one. And what this does basically is changes the direction of the carriage, so the carriage will move from right to left or left to right. Now in this configuration you've got a sort of a set speed that the carriage will move along, and that will control the quality and the fineness of the cut. Now Myford make another gear which is available separately, and it's called a fine feed gear, and it replaces this one. Now this gear has a 30 tooth gear on the back and a 20 tooth gear on the front here. Now it can be replaced with this gear. Again, this one has a 30 tooth gear on the back, which is the same as this one, but on the front it has a 12 tooth gear. Now by taking this gear out, this sort of tumbler gear out, and replacing it with this one, you slow down the lead screw operation by about 50%, and by running the carriage of the lathe along at a much lower speed you'll improve the quality of the cut. You'll get a much finer cut, and also running the lathe at slightly higher speed, also helps this as well. And when I've only achieved this in the past by not using the lead screw to move the carriage, but by moving the carriage along by hand on its hand wheel and moving it very, very slowly to try and achieve a very, very fine quality cut. Now this gear wheel here was something else donated to my channel just recently, so I'm going to fit this in position to replace this one. The gear here is held in place by make sure I don't drop this, a tiny little screw, and there's also a washer goes in between it into here. I've already removed that, and to get the gear out, you've got to disengage this section here. These three gear wheels are mounted onto a bar along here with a slot in it, which you probably can't see clearly. This is commonly referred to as the banjo, probably because it has down the back here a large wheel, and this part that runs behind here with a slot in it looks like a banjo. Down the back here, it's held in position by two little nuts which need to be released. I've already undone one of them, and just hold the gears up here. If I release the other one, I can drop the banjo down, which will disengage this wheel from the, in this case, the 20 tooth gear here. And if I very carefully pull this off, it's slightly different, I've discovered. I've not obviously ever taken this off before. This gear, I think they call it a cluster gear, is all made in one piece, but this one is actually two gears, one mounted on top of the other. I won't remove that because these two are held together with a tiny keyway in here, and obviously I don't want to lose that. This has got to be, when I'm not using this, has got to be put away in a careful place. Leave it all sort of nicely oiled up. So we'll remove that, and I can put that wheel on here, and you'll see that now will engage with one of these gears here. All of these gears are made out of metal. I presume that they're sort of cast iron, I assume, but these are made out of the special composite plastic material. I sort of know it as a phenolic, I think it's pronounced phenolic, or sort of a paxoline material, which is I think sort of a cloth material held in sort of like a resin material, and I guess that these are presumably made in that way, perhaps so that they're not too noisy in operation. But you'll see that runs quite nicely now. So I just need to get the washer and that little locking screw in place. Whoops, in place there. Screw that on. Now that can be locked into place. These, obviously, all of these nuts and locking nuts and so forth are all metric sizes, but luckily this particular spanner is one that came with the lathe when I got it. Sorry, imperial spanners rather. I have got some imperial spanners already, so that will run quite freely here. Obviously I'll need to put some oil on this as well. But the next procedure is now engaging this gear with the 12 tooth gear here. The recommended way is so that you've got some clearance between the two gears, is to put a piece of just ordinary sort of writing paper between these. Use this because they're all very, very oily. Bring that up and locate that in. So locate the gears together, squeezing this piece of paper in between them like that, and that will give you sufficient clearance between the gears. And then I can now lock this little nut up on or two of them actually, little locking nut here, and the one below. Just turn that round and then I can get the spanner into position there and lock that in. Very difficult to see what you're actually doing here. Hope I'm not putting my hand too much in the way. Just lock that in. I think actually I can probably get to that easier from possibly from underneath. So I think we've got that in place now, I hope. And once that's in position, we can wind engage that. We can wind the gears and release the piece of paper. You see it sort of pinch the paper together in there, and that will give us enough clearance between the gears now. So this is going to be very useful because this will now reduce the fine feed to the lead screw, and hopefully I'll experience some much nicer finishes on material. Right, so I'm gonna put some oil on here, use a SAE 30 oil, which is sort of like a gearbox oil. So bear with me a moment, I'll just put some oil on this. Right, well, we'll give the lathe a run. It is obviously noisier with these gears running. But if we run it without the lead screw engaged, now engage the lead screw. Sometimes this doesn't drop into position straight away, and you may have to sort of just move the chuck round to get it to engage. But I've got this set for, if you like, the forward movement of the carriage here. So we run the lathe, then you see the gears make a lot more noise, but you can just about see the lead screw turning. I'll move that round. If I engage the half nut lever, you can just about see the carriage moving along very, very slowly, and you can see just about, if I move that along here, you can see the handle moving as well. So that very, very fine feed, you should get a much better cut on material as well, much smoother finish. Disengage that and move it to the other position. It's engaged there. Switch on, engage the half nuts, and the lead screws revolving, but you see the carriage now is moving in the reverse direction. Now it's moving very, very slowly. But if you were using this just to make a final cut, it's obviously worthwhile. So there we are. So that's all set up now with the new fine feed gear and all ready to run. So next time I do some machining work on the Myford lathe, I'll be able to give that a test out and see how I get on with it. And when I don't use the lead screw all the time, and it's just sort of occasionally, often when I'm making a very long cut in a piece of material, because running the hand wheel manually is quite difficult to run the hand wheel very smoothly for a long cut. It's sort of nigh on impossible really, but you can make your sort of rough cuts with that and then bring the lead screw into play for a sort of final finish cut. Well, I hope you found that interesting. It's something a little bit different. So as well as having my new motor and new variable frequency drive as well, that's going to make quite a difference to the operation of the lathe in future. One thing I did do, you might think this is a bit silly, but to my mind, they've put the having put the speed control and the forward reverse very close together, and they're exactly the same knob. I think if you made a mistake and switched it from forward to reverse by mistake, although this is a much heavier control switch than the speed control, I don't know if that would damage anything, but what I've done is just found a little plastic cover to go over the top of that so I don't mistakenly turn it into reverse by mistake. Just sort of likely thing I'm going to do, I suppose, but there we are. Anyway, well, thanks for joining me. This is just put this up as a quick mid-week video for you, so I hope you've found that of interest, and particularly if you didn't know that fine feed gear was available from Myford. You buy them direct from Myford on their website, or I suppose that you can also get it through eBay as well if you want to. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining me, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Bye bye.